Richard Dubai, the Principal Secretary, Lillian Omolo, were today arrested and taken to the DCI headquarters for interrogation before being arraigned in court to answer charges related to the loss of 9 billion Kenya shillings from the agency. They also joined other 20 NYS scam suspects who were arrested in the overnight raids at their homes. Director of Public Prosecution Noordin Haji has today appointed a 13-member task force team to oversee the NYS case. Faith Anyula with more details.
4 senior NYS officials have been arrested today and detained at Muthaiga police station over ongoing probe on the loss of 9 billion shillings from the agency. The 4 officers, including the NYS Director General Richard Dubai, Assistant Director General Sam Michuki, and Finance Manager Alex Mbugwa, they were today arrested and taken to the DCI headquarters for interrogation before being arraigned in court to answer charges related to the scam. It's just not them in the mixed mess, but there are other 17 suspects who were arrested today for allegedly being involved in the NYS loot. Those arrested included Peter Mchui, Matano Odoyo, James Thuita Nderitu, Yvonne Wanjiku Ngugi, Sami Mbugwa, Timothy Kiplagat, Welalo Mulupi, David Kitui, Fadnad Matavo, Kezia Mwangi, Duba Galgalo, Isaiah Adalo Chopia, and Anne Wanjiku Ngirita, who allegedly received 60 million shillings from the NYS, yet she had not delivered any goods. 5 members of one family were also among some of the suspects who were arrested regarding the ongoing NYS scandal. The operation was led by the CID officers from Nairobi and the other counterparts from Naivasha, who saw vehicles that belonged to the suspects confiscated, a move that saw them being driven to Naivasha police station. Director of Public Prosecution Noordin Haji has today appointed a 13-member task force team to oversee NYS case. While presenting Kenya High School with a new 51-seater bus and GM equipment at State House, Nairobi today, President Uhuru Kenyatta emphasized he will work firmly and decisively to deal with what he termed as unethical people caught in the web of corruption.
We are no longer going to tolerate in our country unethical people. If you have been given responsibility, you need to understand that that responsibility is a responsibility to serve and not to be served.
The suspects are expected to remain in the police station and to arraign before the Anti-Corruption Court tomorrow. Faith Anyula for KUTV News.
Well, thank you, Faith Anyula. It's definitely a developing story following the arrest and pending prosecution of the 54 suspects, out of who 40 are civil servants, 14 are proprietors, and around 10 business entities are set to be prosecuted in regards to the 468 million, which is definitely a substantial amount from the 9 billion Kenya shillings that went supposedly missing at the National Youth Service. We'll definitely keep you updated on that. We'll also take a look at the reactions on social media, specifically Twitter, under perhaps the hashtag #NameTheRealNYS Thieves, just to take a look at the Kenyans' reactions in regards to the steps taken by the Director of Public Prosecution, Noordin Haji, and his office to actually prosecute the culprits of this particular scandal. Let's move on. Now, following efforts by Parliament to implement the 2/3 gender rule, the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee today sought the views of Isiolo County residents with regards to the proposed bill dubbed Duale 2, and the bill moved by Kiminini Member of Parliament Chris Wamalwa, proposing a change of the general election date from August to December. Christine Kamau with more details.
A large number of Isiolo residents turned out to air their views to the committee, chaired by Kandara Member of Parliament Alice Wahome, who deputizes Baringo North Member of Parliament William Cheptumo. Some of the residents, as well as the Isiolo Senator Fatuma Dulo, were highly supportive of the proposed amendments to the 2/3 gender rule and was optimistic that the now twice flopped bill will be concluded this time round.
Majority of Kenyans, they don't understand, and we need, as committee of the Parliament, to be able to sensitize members of public why we need implementation of the two-thirds gender rule.
Inasmuch as all sovereign power, and we realize, is delegated by the people to the judiciary, it is delegated to the executive, and it is delegated to the National Assembly, to Parliament as a whole, we still are obliged, as the elected leaders of the people of this country, to come back when it comes to issues regarding enactment of legislation. And more importantly, these two amendments.
In 2010, Kenya adopted a new constitution that radically changed the organization of its political institutions. Key among its provisions was clauses for greater gender representation. The constitution states that not more than two-thirds of the members of elective bodies can be of the same gender, but implementation has proved elusive. Parliament has tried but failed on 2 occasions to pass a bill that will give effect to the two-thirds gender principle. The bill was rejected twice by members whose main argument was that the new provisions will result in a bloated parliament, which would add to the heavy taxpayer burden. They also argued that the provisions would give women free seats, thus the current amendment bill. The bill was rejected twice by members whose main argument was that the new provisions will result in a bloated parliament, which will add to the heavy taxpayer burden. They also argued that the provisions will give women free seats, thus the current amended bill. Christine Kamau for KUTV.
7 people have been arrested for illegal logging at Ngomben area in Mao Forest. The 7 were arrested in possession of 473 cider posts after the Kenya Forest Service officers received a tip from members of the public. Kenya Forest Service Ecosystem Conservator Mwai Muraguri said the ban on logging and charcoal burning is still on, adding that no one is allowed to destroy forest. Muraguri insisted that the multi-agencies team, including the Kenya Forest Service, the Kenya Wildlife Service and the Narok security teams are working hard to protect the Mao Forest. He said cider trees are indigenous and should be protected as they compose the most important part in water catchment areas. The ecosystem conservator reiterated that Mao Forest serves the Masai Mara Game Reserve, which is in turn a major income earner for the country. Moving on, following the busting of 3 dams in Baringo on Saturday, which led to the death of 2 people in parts of Tiaty sub-county, the government has pledged to drain out water in all the dams that pose danger to the locals. Speaking in Churo Amaya Ward, Water Cabinet Secretary Simon Chelugui revealed that his ministry will ensure that it will conduct a thorough inspection of all dams in the county and also all over the country to ascertain those that are on the verge of busting. Chelugui noted that the government will not turn a blind eye on the problems facing Wananchi, and they will do anything possible to see to it that no life is lost to floods or any other preventable calamities.
Due to the ongoing rains, as affected Tepelekwa Dam, Kacheptuya Dam, Kaptuya Dam, Kanapus Dam, Chepelo Dam, Todo Dam, and many more others, around 5 of them that are waiting to break off.
Hizi dams kweli zimekaa kwa muda wa miaka 50 zimetusaidia, lakini muda huo wote imeanza kufunikwa na mchanga, miti imemea na pia watu wameishi, na unakuta sasa hiyo mabwawa zetu zinaanza kuseeka, ndio zinaanza kubomoka. Tuweze kurekebisha hizi mabwawa ndio watu wasikose maji na pia watu wasiumie kama maji imeshika. Lakini kuna zingine ambao itatubidi tumwage maji.
Well, following that exclusive report about the state of dams in Baringo County, we now want to take a look at what is happening on social media in regards to the heads that are rolling at the National Youth Service following the 9 billion scandal that hit the youth sector in this particular area of the country. Let's just take a look at how Kenyans reacted to the move by the Director of Public Prosecutions to open a case against individuals who are mentioned in this particular fiasco. There we have one Hesbon Mureithi saying arresting current NYS Director General Richard Ndubai and PS Lillian Omolo is one thing. Charging and successfully prosecuting them to points of conviction is the real deal. We also had their respective predecessors, Nelson Githinji and Peter Mangiti, before courts of law. Moving on, someone says we should not forget that this is what is ending up in a few people's pockets, and that when the time comes, we will all pay it back. No one will be spared. And there you have a list of what Kenya owes other countries. Kenya West says, and let's be clear, IFMIS, which they're now hanging on, is not the problem. Problem is its developers who designed it with loopholes for manipulation. And let's not forget that IFMIS didn't tender oxygen to those companies, neither tendered 100,000 Kenya shillings towels. An interesting one there. Name the real NYS thieves hashtag our country Kenya right there, and you can see a couple of criminals, if I may use that word. The chicken thief is behind bars, the tax evaders, but right there you have the corruption cartels dining and whining with the police. Well, moving on. Good news is Anne Wanjiko Girita, the woman who pocketed 59 million Kenya shillings from NYS after supplying air, has been arrested in Naivasha. Bad news is, whoever approved the air supply, financial institutions who didn't intercept are still free. Eyes on the ball. Well, we'll definitely keep the conversation going. Remember, you can tweet us at KUTV Kenya. That's the Twitter page, using the hashtag KUTV News at 8. And in regards to the NYS debacle, you can definitely use the hashtag NYS Real Thieves. We'll definitely take a look at most of your feedback as the bulletin continues. Let's take a